The future of our workforce could be changing, and you can play a big role in that change. The new leader of the Coast Guard Human Capital Strategy has a message about how the Coast Guard is shaping its workforce.
And there are some important changes for enlisted members looking to advance. We have the Master Chief Petty Officer of the Coast Guard in the studio with us today to discuss the new enlisted advancement eligibility requirements.
Welcome to another edition of the Paratus Report, the Coast Guard's news source for the latest and greatest of what's happening in your Coast Guard.
Hey everyone, I'm Chief Warrant Officer Chad Saylor.
And I'm Lieutenant Katie Brainerd.
At this year's State of the Coast Guard address, Admiral Zumkunft laid out his plan for improving the recruiting, retaining, and training of the Coast Guard's workforce as part of his guiding principle, duty to people.
Leading that change is Rear Admiral Scott McKinley. Let's take a look as he explains the importance of a human capital strategy and how your opinion can help shape the future of the Coast Guard.
Hi, I'm Admiral Scott McKinley. I have taken over as the full-time leader for implementing the Coast Guard's Human Capital Strategy. The Human Capital Strategy is a 10-year plan that will impact every corner of our service. You may be wondering, what does this do for me? Good question. The Human Capital Strategy will guide us in supporting you, the work that you do, and your workplace. It would also create a more fully integrated human resource system that will help us recruit, train, and retain the best workforce in the world. Starting in May, we will begin to execute the strategies for the first 31 initiatives as part of our 180-day implementation plan. You can track our progress on the Coast Guard portal page. Also this summer, be on the lookout for ways in which you can offer your input on ways to shape our future Coast Guard. You have the power to shape our workforce. We look forward to hearing from you.
To track the progress of the first 31 initiatives, you must be a Coast Guard Common Access card holder with access to the portal page. You can find the link in the description box below.
And if you have questions, suggestions, or comments about the Human Capital Strategy, email hcsteam@uscg.mil.
If you're enlisted and thinking about the next opportunity to advance, listen up.
The Coast Guard just issued new requirements for enlisted leadership developmental courses. Master Chief Petty Officer of the Coast Guard Stephen Cantrell and Senior Chief Mike Hosda are here today to go over some of the new requirements. Senior Chief?
Thank you for joining us today, Master Chief.
Thanks for having me. It's my pleasure.
The Coast Guard just announced some pretty substantial changes to enlisted leadership training requirements, including some changes that would make certain courses mandatory for members to compete for the next higher pay grade. Can you tell us what brought about these changes and why these courses are now mandatory?
Sure, and we're really excited about these changes. And people are going to ask, these courses that have been around for a long time, and they're very good leadership courses, but in the past they were optional or highly recommended. What makes us want to have those as mandatory? And it becomes part of a larger vision that we had of an enlisted leadership continuum that starts at the E3, that young man or woman that's in A school, all the way through to Master Chief. And this continuum would provide very critical leadership education at different transition points in an enlisted person's career.
So what will this change mean for the future of the Coast Guard workforce?
Well, obviously we're going to have a much better trained workforce, but these young leaders are going to have the tools and they're going to be equipped, I think, better as they evolve into the young leaders of the future. And quite frankly, our service and the service members that they're going to be leading in the future deserve the very best leaders that we can provide.
Thanks, Master Chief. These all sound like positive impacts to our service. What advice would you give an enlisted member who's looking for guidance on how this might impact their advancement?
Sure. First, become familiar with the ALCOAST. The message defined the new requirements very well, I think. But more importantly, seek out a mentor, a supervisor, someone in the Chief's mess, a command master chief, or shoot, they could even contact me if they needed to. But what I don't want to get lost on this is the member's responsibility to understand what their advancement requirements are as they move forward, because the very last thing we ever want is a young leader to run up to a deadline for the service-wide just to figure out that they missed a critical point to their advancement process.
Thank you, Master Chief, for taking the time to talk to us today. For more information on enlisted advancement requirements, click the link to the ALCOAST in the description box below. Back to you guys.
Spring has finally sprung and summer is right around the corner, which means it's prime time to jump on your motorcycle and take in the scenery.
May is Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month, and we want to make sure all of you stay safe this season. For starters, make sure you're up to date on all policy-mandated motorcycle training.
Free motorcycle training is available at many Coast Guard facilities and most DoD military installations. A reimbursement program is also in place for members who take commercially offered training.
And don't forget to wear the proper safety gear while riding. The Safety and Environmental Health Manual outlines the required gear members must wear when riding.
During Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month, motorcycle safety information will be posted on the Coast Guard's All Hands blog. For information on where to find motorcycle training and proper riding gear, click on the links in the video description box below.
This month's Bravo Zulu goes to Lieutenant Commander Eric Oliphant of Air Station Elizabeth City in North Carolina.
Oliphant received the 2015 Dedallion's Exceptional Pilot Award for his daring rescue of 4 crewmen off the coast of North Carolina and his exceptional leadership and aviation expertise.
Congratulations on a job well done.
And that does it for this edition of the Paratus Report. To stay updated on the latest and greatest, make sure you check out our blog, Coast Guard All Hands, and our other official social media sites. Thanks for joining us on the Paratus Report.
See you next time.